All
The
right.
fucking part is brutal.
What'd you say?
The part, my hair is brutal.
Oh, yeah. You just gotta grow it out, homie.
I've
You
been
know.
told grow it out. I've been told cut it, wear it a different way. I don't even know at this point. So many
Neither,
different suggestions.
neither do I. Um, bro, I always struggle to start this thing because I
Do
just
the que
what? Bro,
paso.
I'm just gonna pop in with, hey yo, que paso? It's your boy Octagon Jones. Like what? Like
Oh
I'm just
yes,
supposed to
no, that you just
bring
did
the
it.
energy
You
up out
just
of nowhere. Like
you just did it. Hey, you just did. Literally just did it.
yeah, I
We're
know.
starting now.
That was kind of the plan there. I could just kind of kick the door open and point it out and be like, this is just how I'm doing it this week. But hello, everybody. Welcome. We're back from our little vacation. Game Bread fans will get that joke. But we're here to discuss UFC Would Have Been London. We're giving you a fight picks prediction video. I'm joined with my riding partner for the longest, Mal Pacino, aka the Game Bred Spy, Zach Harkness himself, Underdog Island, going deep, MMA. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Also, Omni-Man's MMA burner on Twitter. Check that shit out. It's
Yeah,
great.
that's right. Omni.
Anyways,
What's his
I
name?
Om Omni-Man.
No,
Omni-Man's
Brian.
MMA burner. Oh, Bryant season. Hashtag Bryant season. Yes, sir. Big,
What's
big
that
San
about?
Francisco Giants here.
Oh,
Chris Bryant's a player for the Giants. Anyways, I have just got finished and published a very long article that goes into very much detail about every single fighter who's fighting on this card. So I'm here if you don't want to read, which I don't blame you, to just talk about it so you can listen.
have you published that?
Yes, I published it like an hour ago. It should be up on MMAisland.net. Check their Instagram stories. There should be a direct link there.
Okay, nice. Well, for those who are reading a verse, might I say, this is the show directly and specifically for you, because we've got a gifted analyst here, or which way I don't know which way he is, but Zach's really good at what he does. He breaks down fights with the best of them. So that's what this show's about. We're here, like I'm just really a fan. I'm not super I'm not super knowledgeable about the technical aspects or trends in the fight game. This guy, brings the knowledge, and I bring, whatever I bring. So I
You're
really
tapped
appreciate you
into the
guys tuning
mystical
in.
side of the world.
What'd you say?
You're tapped into the mystical side of the world.
Yeah, I'll bring the ookie spookies. But let me, I guess, pull up this card. I do not feel prepared. We usually start off better and then taper off, but we're already starting in a weird place. So
That means
UFC Vegas
we're gonna
36
hit
is
it
the
good.
name.
Mm-hmm.
UFC
Should be just
Vegas
front page.
36.
Front
Okay,
page Tapology.
just off the rip, we had one fighter coming in at 3 pounds or 2.5 pounds over their limit, but it doesn't look like the fight's been called off. So Jonathan
It's not
Martinez
going to
missed
be.
weight. What?
It's not going to be called off. I don't.
Hasn't he
So
missed weight in like 3 of his last 4 or something like that?
something like that. And the miss against Frankie Syons was brutal because it was something 4 pounds. I think he weighed in at like 139, maybe even 140. So yeah, this is probably Jonathan Martinez's last bantamweight fight.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. We'll see. We'll see. What if he gets a big win? You think Dana's still like, nah?
No, he's gonna force him to go down. You can't miss all that times. But Marcelo Rojo is making his UFC bantamweight debut. If you all remember, he fought at featherweight in his UFC debut for a short notice bout with Charles Jourdain in one of the fights of the year.
They did put on a really great fight. It's surprising they're fighting on the same card again, but that happens sometimes.
It is. And a thing that I've noticed just about Rojo, and especially when I saw him against Jourdain, is that I'm very worried and hesitant to put all my cards into a featherweight, a bantamweight even, who gets really tired. He gassed out hard against Jourdain, and that led to him getting finished in the third round. He doesn't have much defense, especially not when he's tired. It seems like Jordan was able to land every single strike that he threw, and he completely dotted up Rojo's face. These are traits that are very worrying when you're in a division such as bantamweight, when pretty much every opponent that you're going to face is going to push a pace on you. And if you're going to get tired over 3 rounds, I don't see much of a future for him. So Martinez, as we know, he's pretty good. He works well at range. He has good front kicks. He has great body kicks. He can throw the knee every now and then. His boxing, I think, leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's certainly not bad. And he doesn't get tired. He did get iced in his last fight, but I wouldn't say the durability is a big problem. Davy Grant has been shown to hit quite hard.
That's true.
And I don't think Rojo.
Hands of Stone Grant.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think Rojo has much in the way, especially, I'm still going to be very, very hesitant to pick him in many fights. I get, like, repeating my point from earlier, you can't get tired as a bantamweight. You just can't.
That's a really good point. I'll also be, I guess we're both locking in Martinez, the fella who missed weight. And typically that's a smart thing to capitalize on trend-wise. Even though it sucks, you don't want fighters to miss weight. At the same time, it's like,
they usually win.
Yeah, there's a specific, like, statistical difference on, like, who wins the fight given those. And I think it's like, I don't know the specifics, but it's a little bit over 50%. It's probably closer to like 60 or something. So, yeah, I'll be leaning Martinez because I just think he's also probably the better, more skilled fighter at a high level. So I'll be taking Martinez there. Next, we've got one that I'm just excited to see Dalcha Lungiambula back in the octagon. Dalcha Lungiambula, 11-2. According to Tapology, the number 47th middleweight in the world. We're taking on the 49th middleweight in the world, Marc-Andre Barriault. How do you say that?
Barrio.
Oh.
Or Barrio. I think it's Barrio, actually.
Okay. Well, I'll just tell it to you straight, boys and girls. I'm taking Dalcha Lungiambula here only because I'm rooting for him greatly. There's something about that guy that I really like. Best of luck to the power bar, I guess, but I'm team Dalcha all the way here.
People are starting to think that Marc-Andre Barriault is good, and I really want to squash that narrative before it gets out of hand because
you're so negative.
He's not. But he's not. Okay. So he started off his UFC career 0-3. Like, okay, sure, some of that's against decent competition, people who are either in the rankings or right outside of it. But now he's strung together 2 wins. Well, really 1 win and 1 no contest. But I have been thoroughly unimpressed in both of them because, one, it was against Oscar Pihota, no contest, turnover for steroid usage from Barriault. But Pihota was never good. He was always really bad. And Abu Azaitar, who was supposed to be good, and then he proceeded to get the most tired I have ever seen anyone get in a fight. I swear to God that
boy.
Who?
The black belt hunter.
Oh, Adolfo Vieira, yeah, worse than Vieira. It was worse. Remember, his mouthpiece flew out and he went down to pick it up, and he got finished. Yeah, so he's just been fighting layups, Barriault, and people are trying to think, oh wow, Marc-Andre Barriault, he's kind of good. No, don't get ahead of yourself. Dalcha Lungiambula is, I think, deserves more credit when you're talking about who has the best physique in the UFC. I mean, that man is absolutely shredded.
Yep.
And how he wins almost all of his fights is really just based off of the fact that he is stronger than pretty much everybody. He doesn't throw volume anywhere close to any sort of volume. He doesn't throw a lot at all. He doesn't have great technical striking, but he will try to take you down to the mat. And if he gets you there, he's going to hold you there because he's so much stronger than you. It's not because he has great top position or anything, but it's because, again, if you can hold someone down with just your superior strength, they're not going to get up. That's what Lungiambula has to he has to bank on. And he has to have that massive strength advantage. And going down to middleweight, I think, was a smart idea because he's going to be so much stronger than all these other guys there. He is a hell of an athlete. But Lungiambula, he does get tired. He does. He gasses out. Barrio keeps fighting.
Don't care.
People
Don't care.
who get tired. But I just see a reality in which Lungiambula is able to take down Marc-Andre Barrio and control him in a fight that is most definitely going to suck.
Shut
But
up.
I'm sorry. I don't know. When was the last time Lungiambula was in an entertaining fight? It's when he got starched by Ankalaev.
That was
but anyways, he's gonna win.
Um,
It was gorgeous.
Interesting fact about Dalcha Lungiambula: he won his first professional fight by verbal submission. So, the more you know.
Yeah, it is. All right, we got a great fight coming up next. Look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I don't know who thought of this, but they need a raise. Charles Jourdain and Julian Erosa. So Charles Jourdain has looked, on fire. When he does well in the octagon, man, he does well. He lost the decision to Feely. He's been in the UFC for like a while, since 2019, but he still has that newcomer feel. He just got that big win over Marcelo Rojo. That was a great fight, and then a crazy KO. But he went to a draw with Culibao, had a couple canceled bouts, and now he's booked against Julian Erosa, who, for my money, it's not necessarily number one or even in the top 10, but for both his knockout and fight with Nate Landwehr that lasted less than a minute, it should be on some lists. That shit was crazy. Maybe I'm the only one who makes lists and cares, but I'm always thinking, like, where does that rank in the top 10 on the year? But that shit happened so fast that everyone forgot about it. That was a war for 40 seconds. That shit was nuts.
It was.
Do you remember Erosa Landwehr?
Very much so.
It was beautiful, dude. It was kind of crazy because Nate Landwehr popped right back up and was like, "What? What do you mean?" But
no, he was out.
He got handled. But yeah, Charles Air Jourdain, one of the sleeper nicknames in the MMA world, going up against the very seasoned and not like the nickname's fine because of my recreational preferences. Juicy J, Julian Erosa, it's fine. He's 32. He's got a wealth of MMA experience. He's 25-9. He's coming off a loss to Sang-Woo Choi. But
got starched.
Yeah. I will be taking Charles Jourdain here. What do you have to say about that in a more educated and valuable manner than me just saying I'm taking Jourdain? What you got to say?
Well, I think Jourdain should thank his lucky stars here because he was originally booked to face Lerone Murphy. And if you know anything about Lerone Murphy, you would know that fight would not go very well for Charles Jourdain if he was to fight Lerone Murphy. Because let me tell you now, keep your eyes on Lerone Murphy. That man is going to be in title contention in the next 5 years. Anyways, going back to Charles Jourdain, Erosa, throughout his new and improved UFC run, where he actually is picking up some wins, he has been relying on being able to hang with paces that are really, really high and then push them to another separate limit where the guys are starting to get tired and then they can't catch up. It's exactly what happened to Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson is known for putting out a crazy amount of output and pushing a crazy pace, and Erosa was able to hang with him. And then when Woodson started to get tired, Erosa picked it up and was able to submit Woodson because he was so tired. Charles Jourdain is he's not going to get tired. He doesn't. He is usually the one that outlasts his opponents. He outlasted Duo Choi. He outlasted Marcelo Rojo. The people who beat him are all the people who can hang with him in a pace competition, but they also have good defense. Andre Feely has good defense, and Desmond Green was able to beat him because it was a weight class up, and he was able to wrestle him. And then we don't talk about the Culibao fight. That was retconned. It never happened. Anyways.
What does that mean?
I struck it from existence. It never happened. I don't want it to happen.
Like 86 and something, like nixing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Just retcon's another way to say it.
What does it stand for, though?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just sounds cool.
Linguists in the comments, get at you, boy. But yeah, so What else on that one?
Rosa is poor defensively. We have seen him get clipped up, and he was getting clipped up by Woodson, but he had a good chin. He was getting hit by Landwehr, but he was able to hit him back. Jordan, while getting knocked down by Duo Choi, who was notoriously a hard hitter, was able to hop back up. So I just think that when you're comparing their skills, I think Jordan is going to win because he can exploit Arosa's defensive issues. Arosa's not going to be able to take advantage of Jordan getting tired. And I think he's just going to piece him up 130-27. I don't really there could be a finish here. Arosa's durability is weird. He was able to tank a lot of shots against Woodson, but then gets flatlined by Sungwoo Choi. So I don't know where it's at. So I'll just call it decision to be safe.
Pretty smart breakdown you got there. Next, we got Molly McCann taking on Ji Young Kim. Fire Fist. I think we were talking on the phone the other day, and I was like, oh, Ji Young Kim's kind of exciting. It's because I remembered her win on Whitaker Adesanya is what I'm realizing. She got that hooks to the body knockout at the end of the fifth, or at the end of the second.
Against Nadia Kassem.
Yeah, bro. Still, a body shot KO is fun.
Yeah, but Nadia Kassem is fucking awful.
Well, regardless, since then she's had 4 canceled bouts and a loss to Alexa Grasso. Molly McCann also had an emotional last outing, tossing her gloves in the ring. Just overcome with emotion. She had some stuff going on, and didn't like the result, of course. But she's getting back in there with all of her countrymen. It's going to be I don't know if it's going to be an exciting fight. I always say that, but I'm excited to see if Molly can come back and look good. That being said, she's only 31. I thought she was older.
No, yeah, she's 30.
How old is Ji Young Kim then? 31 as well.
She's 33. Oh, she's 31 as well. Okay, they're both 31.
I'll probably take. That's tough. Maybe
if you want, I can talk and then you can form your opinion.
Yeah, sure. I'm leaning Ji Young Kim.
All right, fair enough. So Molly McCann, she rattled off 3 wins in a row, and everyone thought that she was a contender, and now she's lost 3 straight, and that veil. No, 2 straight. Apologies, and that veil has been broken. And you look at her 3 losses in the UFC, and there's a pattern that starts to become abundantly obvious. Laura Procopio, Tyler Santos, Jillian Robertson. If you go on the UFC stats page and look at what happened in each of those fights, it is the fact that Molly McCann cannot grapple to save her life. Every time she gets taken down to the mat, she looks terrible. Absolutely no instincts of what's going on. Absolutely no idea what to do. She cannot stop a takedown, and once it gets there, she's just about useless. And her whole success in her career so far has been, pushing people forward to the cage and swinging on them. That's what she does. She'll try to tire you out by doing that. That's what she did to Kishwera. That's what she did to Lipsky, and that's what she did to Diana Belbitsa. Ji Young Kim will not grapple her. She might, but throughout Ji Young Kim's career so far, where she has also fought a lot of strikers who aren't the best grapplers.
Her nickname's not Fire Grapple.
She has never attempted a takedown in her UFC career. And this should be big news for Molly McCann, because I think every single fight in the UFC so far that she has not been taken down in, she's won. Ji Young Kim, in terms of her striking ability, she does throw a lot. She has a lot of output, but she gets landed on just as much. It's rare to see fighters with such a high significant strikes landed per minute also have a near 0 strike differential. Her defense is not there. She can be backed up. We saw Grasso back her up and then tee off on her because Ji Young Kim is not good off the back foot at all. I think she's gotten really lucky with situational matchups and blessed to get that split decision over Justin Kish when she really did not deserve it. So
that forward pressure thing might be enough to change my mind. I'm not certain, but I don't know.
I'm going Molly McCann. relatively high confidence. I don't have much faith in the way of Jeon Kim, especially when it comes to beating McCann, because if she's not going to grapple, I don't really see how she's going to win.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next, for the people, we got Luigi Vendramini versus Patty Pim.
By the way, you skipped Shore versus Shalinian. I thought you would do it next, but it seems like you went right.
You're so right. And shame on me for sin and shame. I'm very excited for this fight. I just skipped it visually on the scroll up, I guess. But we've got Jack Shore, Ludwig Shalinian. A lot of people at the beginning of the Ultimate Fighter this season were picking Ludwig to win. He's a promising young cat, 9-1-1, but he's taking on the undefeated tank Jack Shore, fighting out of Wales. So I don't know. I think that Ludwig Shalinian will have a good career. I think that he'll be good in the UFC, but I see Jack Shore confidently, and I see him moving up to 15-0. Over Ludwig Shalinian.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Shore is just a better version of Ludwig Shalinian in absolutely everything. He's a better striker. Jack Shore's not the world's best striker, but he's sure enough to be competent. And when Ludwig Shalinian strikes, he seems to only get into brawls where he puts himself at danger. He'll get clipped a lot on the feet. And when it comes to the grappling, it's not close, I don't think. Ludwig gets tired, and he has shown many times that he can be swept. You know, Tercios advanced position on him, went from the bottom to the top many times in their great fight. So we know what Shalinian does, what he wants to do, and he wants to wrestle. So we're pretty much looking at this as a grappling matchup. And unless bantamweight, you think about it, there's not that many super high-level grapplers, especially being good off of their back. I believe Aljamain Sterling would be the lone example of that. So I think Jack Shore is a legitimate blue chip prospect, one of the best in the sport currently. And I really just don't see an avenue to a Shalinian victory besides a lucky submission or a lucky knockout. And those are not the results you want to pick if you're trying to pick the most likely outcome.
That's probably why you get way more fights right than I do. So yeah, we're both taking Jack Shore. I mean, we've both been high on him since he came in the octagon, and I'm sure that you've been high on him much before that. But yeah, regardless, I'm excited to see Ludwig getting a spot, because who knows, maybe he can make some magic happen, and that's always something that I think is a greater possibility than most people, even though I'm confidently picking Jack Shore. Next, the one I jumped the gun to is Luigi Vendramini. He's had 4 fights in the UFC, taking on UFC newcomer and star, honestly, abroad, Patty Pimblett. A lot of people know who this kid is. He's making his UFC debut. Lots of people don't like him. We're not really going to get into any of that. Zach may have some things to say, but as far as talking about how much shine he has as a prospect, he's 16-3, and he's got personality. He's loud. He's brash. He's got the Scouse accent. He checks a lot of boxes on a lot of things. So we'll see if he can make a statement. What?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Bro, come on. I don't know what you said.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what you said.
Oh, I said and racist.
Well, now that you said it, you want to just talk about it?
Apologies. I know we weren't going to get into that, but I really just don't like this guy.
No, it's fine. I didn't necessarily, because I try to keep the vibes good, but since you already brought it up, I mean, why don't you inform the people on why the underbelly, not the underbelly, what the underbelly is of why a lot of people want to see him get knocked out this weekend. Tell us why he's a villain.
And I think that might be important, because I think a lot of people are just seeing the anti-Pimblett propaganda, and you do have to look pretty hard, because it was a kind of niche interaction, but it's enough for me to, and a lot of other people to, take it very seriously. If you don't know who Muhammad Mokaev is, he is one of the more premier flyweight prospects on planet Earth. He fights in Brave Combat Federation and is coming back in the co-main of Brave CF 54, which is going to happen later this month. Anyways, he was born in Dagestan. but for his entire life, he is in England. He lives in England, so he reps the English flag. And Paddy Pimblett told him, you can't rep the English flag because you weren't born here. And then also, he doesn't want to be represented from England. He wants to be represented from Liverpool, Merseyside. He doesn't want to be announced as English, so why does he care who lives there and who says they're from there, you know?
Either way, even if he was a proud Englishman or he's like, fuck England. I heard him talking about who he was rooting for in the Euro final. It was Italy and England, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the Scousers are like, no, fuck England. Like, we're going Team Italy. But he was really like, no, fuck them. Fuck them. I'm all the way Team Italy. Like, I fucking hate the English national team or whatever. Like, I don't know. It seems like he's probably got definitely a lot of energy one way or another as far as what he talks about, what he fucking sinks his teeth into. I definitely don't support those kinds of statements as far as like admonishing who somebody represents themselves as on an international stage. Like that's like you have no say in that, and that's the kind of stuff that, you know, is bogus about, you know, a young kid up and coming. Like, they say a lot of stupid shit, and he you know, he's got to live with that. So it's unfortunate. I've also seen him have some other exchanges. I don't know the super details of them, so I'm not really gonna dive in. But let's just hope that in this young UFC career he has, maybe he can do some maturing as a person.
I hope so.
I'm just like, if y'all can't tell, I'm an optimistic person. I want to see the good in people. So Paddy, he's been showing himself to be quite the arse recently, over the past few years, and I hope that changes. That could be cool, but you know, as of right now, he's not doing himself any favors with the level of. He's doing himself some social media favors, but for the most part, there's a large amount of people that very much dislike him coming into his UFC debut.
Before we start talking about the art rather than the artist, I do want to remark that most of his fans are also Colby Covington fans. Take that as you will. Anyways, let's talk about how he is as a fighter. So, Paddy Pimblett, if you know anything about him, you know what he does well. He's not very good on the feet, but when it gets to the ground, he's dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
I forget who I was listening to talk, but someone said that his improvements on the feet in the last 1 or 2 years has been. I know everyone's supposed to say that, and he's getting so good, and I get it, but I've heard that he's made quote unquote phenomenal improvements on the feet.
Well, that's good to hear. But yeah, he's a primarily a very, very accomplished jiu-jitsu grappler and fighter. He might look for ground and pound. He might look for rear naked choke, but that's really what he wants. He's not going to stand and trade with you. That's detrimental to what directly correlating to losing fights for him.
It reminds me of like a patchy mix.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, honestly. And it's funny because he's just like a weird bastardization of what an English fighter really usually is, which is a great striker and a bad grappler. But he's the inverse.
I find it intriguing that he's a BJJ guy out of England. Well, of the things that I find intriguing about this guy, that's one of them. I like that. That's the same reason. One of the reasons I'm high on the heavyweight from over there later on in the card. I really like when these guys that are supposed to be one thing turn out to actually be dynamic or surprising and good in a different area. That's something that very much intrigues me. I think that's why that's a large part of why Anderson Silva was such a big star. Granted, his KOs were great. He was a well-rounded martial artist, but everyone in Brazil was, you know, a lot of BJJ. And then he was coming out and kicking people's chins off. Like, you know, when the spice to life, you know, pops up and people are like, oh, it's something different. Like the variety is the spice of life is what I meant to say. And when it shows itself, people tend to gravitate towards that. So I could see why England is like, oh, you know, we got a baddie on the ground now. It's over, mate. It's over. Like I could understand that. So we'll see. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, it's all right.
I don't have any ADD meds, so this is what you got.
When it comes to Vendramini, he reminds me a little bit, honestly, of Darren Till if he wasn't good at Muay Thai, because he's really good at dragging usually high output strikers into low output performances, because he does have pretty solid defense. He'll have that moment every now and then where he'll explode, but again, with the fight time that he's had, we've only seen one full fight from him in the UFC against Frazium, which a lot of people, including me, think he should have won. I do
Wait, what
believe
did you
that was.
say?
I believe he should beat Frazium, and a lot of people do too.
Oh, I thought you said he's only had one fight in the UFC. I'm sorry.
No, he's had three.
Yeah.
The knockout of Jess and Iari, which
Mhm.
put him back on the map, and then a loss to Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos.
No, it went Dos Santos,
Iari,
then
Zium,
Zium. Yeah. Oh,
and
you
now
were just
here.
playing it from this end. Okay, never mind.
Yes. Anyways, I really am trying to find reasons to pick Vendramini, and if I'm thinking of them, it could be that we haven't seen his defensive wrestling tested. It could be good, and we don't know much about his jiu-jitsu. I've heard that it is also good as well, and it
Got a
is.
black belt.
And we all know that Vendramini, he does have magic. He does have power. He can hurt you. He can knock you out. If Pimblett is not as good defensively on the feet, he could get clipped and he could get knocked out. So I know this is mainly a biased pick. Pimblett's the favorite and most likely going to win this fight, but because I want to see it, I'm going to go Vendramini in the case that I'm right and I feel vindicated because of it.
That's how I make all my picks, kid. Everyone excuse my extremely large water contraption. That's just how it goes. No, honestly, I'm taking the Batty lad. I think he's going to get it done. I think that a debut of this magnitude, I know Luigi's a good cat and he's talented and he could be well-rounded. And I don't know. I think low output mixed with a speedy, tricky grappler could be a recipe for a quick night in the office for Patty Pimblett. I'll take Patty to win, even though I really like Luigi. And I hope
it's annoying that his debut. I'm really annoyed that his debut has all this hype and Gamrot came into the UFC to like zero fanfare, but it's whatever.
Yeah, was Michael Chandler on that list?
I think he was. He had to be.
He should have been.
He was. He was.
Next fight on the card, it's one that could be a banger for as long as it lasts. Modestas Bukauskas taking on Khalil Roundtree. He doesn't got tree in his name for fucking nothing, everybody. This dude is built like a sturdy 1,000-year-old oak. Like he is built. Khalil Roundtree, for my money, is one of the scariest looking dudes, like physically. Like I would just
he's terrifying, yeah.
I'd be so fucking scared to like bump into that dude and have him make a sour face at me. I'd be like I'm about to get my ass Muay Thai'd out of consciousness or whatever he does. But Modestas Bukauskas, the Baltic Gladiator, riding an 11-4 record, meeting Khalil's 8-5 record. Honestly, I'll be taking Modestas Bukauskas here. I'll be taking Modestas. I think that Khalil, he's got all the talent in the world. He's got a lot of skills. I just don't know where his intentions are. I don't think they're solid enough to, like, I don't know. The comeback of like Bangkok Khalil or whatever is cool and all.
Bangkok ready Roundtree.
Yeah, Bangkok ready Roundtree. It's cool and all, and I get it, and I think he has the potential to be super special. But at the same time, I don't know. He seems like he's halfway over his career. Like not as in he's halfway done or anything, but he's like over it. Like I don't know. He seems passionate about the martial arts and what he does, but when it comes to applying it in the octagon, it's like I don't really know. It's definitely inconsistency is one of the main things, and I think Modestas Bukauskas is gonna really bring it. I think that I really like this guy. He's not looking good in his last two fights, even though his fight with Alexia. How do you say that one?
Olajaychik.
That is ridiculous. Olajaychik, Mikhail Olajaychik.
He should have won.
He went to a split decision with Mikhail, and I also think I scored it for him live. But before that, Jimmy Crute just dusted him.
That was too much, though. Too much, too fast.
And in his UFC debut, Andreas Michailidis took on Modestas Bukauskas, who was also I think they debuted together, but
yes, Bukauskas also a Cage Warriors champion, like Paddy Pimblett is or was.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Paddy's probably, I don't know, never mind, but he's definitely the bigger star out of Cage Warriors.
Of course, not even a doubt.
But I don't know. I'll always remember Modestas's debut fondly because he was beating the brakes off of Michailidis at the end of the round, and then they opened up the cage while Michailidis was like leaning against the door, and he felt like he rolled out of the cage. And I'm not one to laugh at fighters typically, but that is the goofy shit that'll make me laugh. So,
it was hilarious.
Yeah, and then the ref called it, and it was kind of an awkward situation, but ever since then, you know, he's got to make something happen here. And Khalil Roundtree is not only a big name for how unfortunate his record honestly is, but Khalil Roundtree, like I said, dude, all the potential in the world, I think. I don't know if there's something that I'm not sure about, and that's holding me back. I'll be taking Bukowskauser. I think it'll probably be. I think he might knock him out.
It's interesting. When it comes to Roundtree, you said that there's something missing there, and you're very right. There is clearly something missing, and it's his confidence. Ever since he sold his soul for one of the most incredible performances I have personally ever seen against Eric Anders, where he just absolutely demolished him, Khalil Roundtree has never been able to live up to that hype again. He got taken down and destroyed by Kulaba, and since then, he has not been the same. Well, if we look at why, obviously he can't do anything in the defensive wrestling department or in the grappling department, and he starts to lose faith in his own abilities as the fight goes on. You'll notice that, especially in his last fight against Pragnio, he was winning early because he was throwing kicks, and Khalil Roundtree has great kicks, especially great low kicks. I mean, that's what you learn if you go train in Thailand full time. They will teach you how to kick low like no one's business, and that's what tore up Anders for the most part. But when he stopped throwing them, Pragnio was able to gain more confidence and beat the crap out of him. So I think that Khalil Roundtree's confidence is all but gone. I don't think he truly believes in himself anymore. Before he was teasing a move to heavyweight against Greg Hardy, and he said that it would be his last ever fight.
I remember that. Yeah. He's
talking about retirement. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign at all for someone so young in his career.
He did retire, didn't he?
He did. He talked about it, but he didn't. And when it comes to Bukowski, he does some standard things pretty well. I think he has a good jab.
I think he's got nice fundamentals. Like he's just a basic player one fighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's very down the middle, pretty good.
When he gets backed up or when people close in on range on him, he doesn't look the strongest, but that's to be expected. You know, you get a lot of leeway if you're a light heavyweight. Excuse me. He might not have the best defensive wrestling, but from what I've seen, he has a good get-up game. He can get up the mat pretty well, but he will get taken back down there. Obviously, that's not something to worry about when it comes to Khalil Roundtree, but with his current state, I don't really think I can pick Khalil Roundtree against anyone, and that sucks because I know he has the skills to be one of the absolute best in the world. It's just I don't think he can put it together anymore. He did it for one night, and it was a glorious night, but I don't think we're going to see it again.
It's fair. Okay, so we're at just about the 40-minute mark. I just want to keep a mindful eye on the time. to make sure we're getting through this in an appropriate manner. We've only got 3 fights left, so we should be good. Next, we've got David Zawada taking on Alex Morono, the Great White Shark, or the Great White, sorry.
Yeah, just the Great White.
But then we got David Zawada, Sagat, I don't know, fighting out of Dusseldorf, Germany, which is a very cool city name. But this is the man that subbed Abu Bakr. For those of you who are like, where do I know David Zawada from? That's where you know him from. He subbed Habib's
cousin
in the first round.
The greatest corner in MMA history.
Yeah.
That corner was Habib, Javier Mendez, and Abdulmanap.
That was a great card, honestly. That was Zabit and Cater. Huh.
It was. We got to see Greg Hardy lose for the first time. Fun stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, David Zawada, 17-6 on a 1-fight losing streak, taking on Alex Morono, who got to fight Cowboy recently and stopped him in the first, which honestly was pretty surprising for me. Other than that, he got a win over Reese McKee in 2020, and he lost to Chaos Williams in 2020, but he lost to Anthony Pettis in 2022. So it's like kind of up and down. I wouldn't say he's inconsistent, but he definitely drops one every once in a while. So with Alex
his UFC record, by the way, is 8-4, 1 no contest. Better than you might think.
8-4 with 1 no contest. I know Alex Morono brings it, and he's only getting better. He's 31, 5'11". You know, he's a good-sized dude. And 31, that's right in that sweet spot. So we could be seeing the best of Alex Morono in the next 2 to 3 years, which is exciting. So for that, like, I don't know. I've been hesitant to pick him for whatever reason, and David Zawada is making his USA debut, which is something that would maybe make me pick a guy. But I'm going Alex Morono here. I owe it to him. I've picked against him too many times to not pick him here. I think Alex Morono gets it done in convincing fashion. Even though David Zawada is one of those guys that I'm like, oh, Zawada, like, let's see it. But whatever. What do you think?
Before I start, I want to throw credit to 3 men for building this amazing comparison that I have, because when you think about it, it's so true. Those 3 men, Conor Rebush, Zane Simon, Phil McKenzie, because they are all pointed out to me. And once you watch his fights, they're very true that Alex Morono is the answer to the question, what if Justin Gaethje was unathletic? And that answer is Alex Morono, because he fights like Justin Gaethje without being the type of athlete that Justin Gaethje is. He will charge forward at you, and he will swing a lot of volume. There's not a lot of technicality in what he does, but he pushes an incredible pace, and he throws a lot. And that's his whole goal. And when he fights counter strikers, ones who can, see what's coming, can hurt him off the back foot, those are the fights he usually loses. Look against Pettis. Look against Chaos Williams, 2 people who knocked him out. Well, Chaos Williams knocked him out, but Anthony Pettis hurt him a lot when Morono was charging in, because he kind of charges in with reckless abandon, because you can usually do that. Most MMA fighters cannot counter-strike. There are a few who can do a little bit, and they will hit him, but David Zawada is not one of those people. David Zawada is kind of a crazy finish or bust type of striker, or type of fighter, forgive me, because he doesn't have the type of style that is built to win rounds. He's not going to beat anyone on the feet, most likely, unless they're also quite bad. And his whole grappling game relies on attacking submissions. He averages 2 submissions per 15 minutes, which is one of the higher numbers I think I have ever seen. And attempted submission means like he actually has it in and it was released, not he's looking for it, because he's always looking for the submission. The classic old adage in grappling is position over submission. With David Zawada, he flips it. So I just don't see really, he doesn't wrestle that great either, too, so he can't bring Morono down to the mat if he wanted to, and I don't think Morono's going to bring him down to the mat unless he has a death wish. So I'm pretty confident that Alex Morono is going to win this fight. I think he's just going to charge Zawada forward and knock him out pretty early with his back against the cage.
You painted a nice picture there. Almost see that. Okay, we're rounding the corner to home plate here, so let's just dive into it. Tom, the future heavyweight GOAT Aspinall takes on Sergey Spivak, and my friend Zach here is taking Sergey Spivak for no reason when I'm telling him it's a lock,
there is a
brother.
reason.
It's a
There's
lock.
a reason. There's a reason.
No, there's plenty of reasons. Sergey Spivak is very strong, very scary, but I have confidence in Tom because he's called for this fight multiple times. Two, he's one of these guys that is. I'm trying to find the way to. He's like a playmaker. You know what I mean? He's like Julian Marquez. He's like trying to make something happen, like a real finisher. And I think that's what Tom Aspinall is. He's a playmaker for real. So, I think that goes a long way as far as an MMA fight, especially at heavyweight, when you've got someone who's fast, crafty, technical, and talented, and well-versed in their talents, which is a big thing for Tom Aspinall. Plus, he's young, and he's handsome. He's built like a fucking house. Let's see what else.
He's not
He's
built.
Charming. What?
He doesn't have abs. Tom Aspinall does not have abs.
He's built, though. Dude's big.
Okay, I'll give you
He's
that.
not as big as Sergey Spivak, I don't think.
No, he is not.
But I need a 10th thing. A smile is unbelievable. So, as far as Tom Aspinall goes, I would sit here and fawn over him for 25 minutes if I could. But I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. I'll take Tom. I'll take Tom all day.
He's not going to be the future heavyweight GOAT because the future heavyweight GOAT is already the interim champion. But we're not talking about Cyril Gane right now. We're talking about Tom Aspinall.
Yes, we are.
Someone who I believe has gotten just a little bit lucky so far. You look at his stretch competition; it has not been the highest. Arlovsky's a good win.
Those guys.
As he should have. He did his job. But still, you don't get that much credit for beating Collier and Alan Baudot. Arlovsky a little bit, but he's still ancient. Anyways, that's not to take away from his...
good until that fight, Hermano.
Well, yeah, because he has actual technical skills, and that carries you along with heavyweight. But anyways, this is not to discount from Tom Aspinall's skills. He has legit talent. He is one of the cleaner boxers I've seen in the heavyweight division. He attacks the body, which is a rarity for MMA fighters in general, not just heavyweights. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black. What he can't do is wrestle. And that is exactly what Sergey Spivak does, pretty much exclusively. We know Spivak has a pretty tough chin. I mean, the only time he's lost was by finish was a knee by Walt Harris. And the times that we have seen Sergey Spivak lose in the UFC is to that and to someone who can out-grapple him. And we've heard so much about Tom Aspinall's BJJ black belt, and we know there's levels to black belts. Kevin Holland has a BJJ black belt, but he was kept on his back in a closed guard by Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori like it was nothing, because there's a difference in BJJ skill.
I'd be willing to bet that Tom Aspinall's BJJ is at a much higher level than Kevin Holland's, even though Kevin Holland's association
I would doubt it. You would doubt it? I think a Luder black belt is worth much more than any single English grappler can give him.
What was I about to say, Zach?
I don't know.
I was about to say, even though his association and lineage is probably more famous, I still think that Tom Aspinall's fucking 19 years in the BJJ gym probably helps a lot.
I mean, Travis Lutter is the Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu, for God's sake.
Okay, but Kevin Holland isn't.
No, it's a joke on a terrible Mike Goldberg commentary call. But
really?
Yeah, Travis Lutter was walking out, and Mike Goldberg was like, "Travis Lutter is the Michael Jordan of jiu-jitsu," and Joe Rogan was like, "No."
That's very funny.
All-time
No,
great.
but Lutter's definitely very highly credentialed as far as BJJ is concerned.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But anyways,
I know that English BJJ isn't the best, But if you've been doing it your whole fucking life, Kevin Holland hasn't been in BJJ classes his whole life.
You need to in order to get a black belt. You just need to.
Tom Aspinall is much younger than Holland.
But again, what I was saying about his black belt is we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it been tested. I don't count a RNC over a tired 40-plus-year-old Arlovsky as showing off his jiu-jitsu talent. Second round, wasn't it?
It might have been second, but I thought it was first.
And what I saw in that fight is that Aspinall does have some defensive lapses. He was getting tagged by Arlovsky. And this fight is going to test one thing, and that's going to be how good his defensive wrestling is. And it's going to need to be rock solid because Sergey Spivak, he will take you down and he will hold you there. And Sergey Spivak is not going to find himself in the positions. He's not exactly the type to stay in guard. He just wants to get to wherever it takes to hammer out the ground and pound, and he's going to get there, whether that be mount, half guard, or side control. He's not just going to sit inside the guard of Tom Aspinall because I'm sure he's aware of that Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
No, and Tom Aspinall's going to sub him.
And you said that Tom Aspinall has been calling for this fight, and you're right, because he knows that it's pretty much the toughest stylistic matchup he can get in the current sphere of heavyweight that he's at right now. There's not a single fighter, I think, 10 and below that is a worse matchup for Tom Aspinall than Sergey Spivak, especially at this point in time when he is known to be not very good at wrestling. So I'm taking Spivak, and I honestly see it being a finish. All prospects need their loss. I think this is where it comes.
No, his losses came before. But one thing I will say about Tom Aspinall before we move on to the main event is the guys who I typically think are special are the guys who think a little bit differently. And Tom Aspinall's definitely thoughtful and humble and very not cautious, but careful as far as what he's doing in his career. I think he's making a lot of the right moves, and I think he's a cerebral, heady guy. I think he's very well, I think he's handling his career well. His third fight in the UFC, he submits Arlovsky, who's kind of a legend. I think you can't really say too much on him. You just got to let the kid run. And I'm really excited. As soon as I saw Aspinall, I knew, much like Tercios on Tough, I've said recently, as soon as I saw Aspinall, I was like, that's my guy. That happens to me sometimes. So I will probably never pick against Tom Aspinall, ever. So there you have it. You're going to pick Spivak on a week's notice. Whatever.
Yeah, I am.
Whatever, bro. All right. So we got the main event. Darren, the Gorilla Till, taking on Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson. His shoulders are that wide. But
Derek Brunson, he just stands there.
Yeah, stand-up comedian Derek Brunson. All he has to do is stand up, and people laugh.
Fucking hilarious. It's so funny.
Built like a meme. It's just very funny. But you know how we talk about expecting the unexpected all the time in MMA, and that's kind of the essence of this game. That's why it's mixed martial arts. People, as much credit as Darren Till gets for being a really good striker, everyone fucking hates his fighting style because it's slow-paced and doesn't knock people out. I think he's going to get a big finish over Derek Brunson in this fight this weekend. I think Darren Till's KO is coming, and everyone's going to be hype when it happens. Even though he's going to walk out to no music and he's going to have to fight a grinding wrestler, I think Darren Till is going to say, get out of me way, because I'm an actual real top of this division. I think he is. I think Darren Till is one of the best fighters in the division, and I think he's going to show it. Derek Brunson is a 38-year-old wrestler who has looked really good, but list me his last 4 fights. Go ahead.
Elias Theodorou, Ian Heinisch.
No, speak up.
Elias Theodorou, Ian Heinisch, Edmund Shabazian, and Kevin Holland. There he goes.
Now
That loud
listen to
enough.
Darren Till's last 4 fights.
Oh yeah, I will do that. But for context, Derek Brunson won all these fights. Tyron Woodley didn't age very well. Jorge Masvidal didn't age great either. Kelvin Gastelum and Robert Whittaker. He only won one
I
of
would say the competition level is pretty clear.
Sure, but he didn't win. And for context, Darren Till's 2 knockouts in his UFC career have come against a cowboy old shot at welterweight and Wendell de Oliveira Marquez. Those are his
What,
2.
has Cowboy been shot for 7 years now, or what?
Not 7 years, but at least for 5. Yes.
No, I refuse to believe it. Dad Cerrone was real.
Yes, with wins over Alexander Hernandez, Mike Perry, and Al Iaquinta. You look back, those haven't aged great.
We're gonna fucking end up fighting.
Anyways, as you can tell, I have Derek Brunson, and I'm not as high on Darren Till as my co-host here, because what Darren Till does the best is not anything that he does specifically. It's that the way his style brings terrible fights out of all of his opponents. Robert Whittaker, everyone who fights Darren Till looks like garbage, except for Tyron Woodley, who always looks garbage, but he got the win in this one. And the rare performance where you can say, wow, Tyron Woodley looked good there. And I guess
how old was Till?
Till this was 3 years ago. So how old is he now?
He was 23 or 24.
He was 25. Anyways, Darren Till is incredibly low output. He acts like a counter striker when he's not a counter striker. And I don't believe his wrestling is going to be good enough to stop Derek Brunson because, one, a big thing is that Derek Brunson does not get tired. And also, Darren
Till's anti-wrestling is actually really good.
If you want to watch the Tyron Woodley fight and tell me that, I will accept it. But I don't think you can say that.
What about the Whittaker fight? You just act like the Whittaker fight didn't happen. He popped back up a second after Whittaker took him down. And Whittaker's a talented wrestler. He's not a talented wrestler, but as far as wrestling goes, he's talented for an MMA fighter.
Sure. He's a fine MMA wrestler.
He's 28 and in the 29 in the physical prime of his life. Derek Brunson's not in his physical prime, bro.
He absolutely is. Brunson's a better wrestler. For sure, he's a better wrestler.
Prime, maybe, but that's saying a lot when your win streak is constructed of Elias Theodorus.
And Kevin Holland. Don't forget you were high on Kevin Holland before that fight.
No,
we all picked him to win. Let's not forget. We all picked him to win. We all picked Shabazian to win, but so let's not do some revisionist history. At the time, those were good wins.
I'm saying that people are greatly overrating Derek Brunson because of his mundane attraction to the masses. Everybody loves him because he's very vanilla. He's very middle of the road, super low key as far as his personality is concerned. So the hipsters who want someone new to like that nobody likes, not that nobody likes Derek Brunson. He's a fine cat. He's actually a likable individual generally. But as far as standing out, popping out, it's called normcore, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I started holding these sunglasses because I'm getting passionate, and I think I'm about to tell you to put the house on the fucking gorilla dad bod Till by a knockout. But as far as Derek Brunson goes, I think, oh god, this is very poorly executed, everybody. Sorry. I just almost choked myself on camera. But yeah, I think Derek Brunson is getting a little bit of that like anti-humor attention on social media. And I think that's his performances are definitely backing it up, but I think a lot of it's coming from the just like those memes that are just not even really memes, but it's like a slice of bread and it says bread, and like you know what I mean? Like it feels like that to me. Feels like that.
Well, I like Brunson because I like how he just got fucking sick of being a gatekeeper and decided, you know what, fuck you all, I'm going for the belt and you can do nothing about it. And ever since dyeing his hair blonde, he has not lost. And it is so fun to watch everyone lose their minds that they have to actually consider Derek Brunson a contender when the only people he's lost to are Jacare, Romero, Anderson Silva,
Robert Whitaker.
Israel Adesanya, if I said him, and Robert Whitaker. That's it. Those are the only people he's lost to. So you could say that every single one of those people are top 10 middleweights of all time. He's beaten everyone else. It takes a special kind of fighter to beat Derek Brunson. That's why he was always the gatekeeper. If you can beat Derek Brunson, you can be champion. You can be top 3. Every single person who has beaten, with the exception of Jacare, has held and I guess Romero, but in the exception of Jacare, everyone who has beaten Derek Brunson has been in a UFC title, and 3 of them have been UFC middleweight champions. And all of them have been ranked in the top 3. No chance.
We'll see.
No,
we'll see.
He's not.
We'll see.
We'll see. Because I don't see Derek still does not have the power to. I mean, Brunson might be a tiny bit chinny, but he has survived against some pretty dangerous strikers in the street, because we know Edmund Shabazian cracks. He hits really hard. Kevin Holland knocked people out like no one's business. Brunson survived both of them and beat the crap out of them both. If he can get it to the mat, I don't see what much of Till can do, because if you think about it,
I just think it's crazy that you're basing your whole shit off an if.
This whole game is an if. You're basing it.
I agree, but it starts
from
the feet, and Darren is much better at striking. Much better.
Yes, he's much better, but he's not so dangerous to the fact where he's a knockout threat.
I think he's going to knock him out.
He's not a knockout threat.
He's only got 2 knockouts in his whole career, right?
In the UFC, he does. He has multiple knockouts outside the UFC, but those don't count. Those don't mean anything. Plus, one of those knockouts is against someone who is definitely not in the UFC anymore, in Wendell Oliveira dos Santos.
Yeah, sure. But I just think it's time. It's time. Y'all know about the mystical clock of MMA. Everything's got to come back around eventually, and I think that it's Darren Till's time for a big highlight. I just feel it. I really do.
I think Brunson is going to take another step closer to being a contender. That is what I see happening.
And that's the beauty of this show. So if you liked what you saw, make sure to go follow me, Octagon Jones, on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. But you're already here, so just make sure to like and subscribe. And if you thought the insight was valuable from my co-host, because he is the backbone of this show, let's be honest, make sure to go follow him at Zach Harkness MMA on Twitter, Zach Harkness on Instagram. You could also find him by searching Omni-Man's MMA Burner. But if you are interested in diving in his work a little more, go check out his projects and articles on MMAisland.net, the new wave of MMA media, because we're both MMA Island team members, and he puts out a lot of great work on the website. So until next time, you want to leave him with anything, Zach Attack?
Thanks for listening. The 2 things I put out this week, 2 massive articles. One of them is Jacare Souza, a career retrospective, which I'd like to call the ultimate piece of Jacare media. Keep your eyes out. That is getting turned into a video very soon, because I know it's kind of inaccessible to read. It's very fucking long. So expect a video of that within maybe by the end of the month, maybe a bit later. It's going to take a lot to get the visuals. And the comprehensive breakdown to every single fighter on the Brunson versus Till card. If you want to go read and see anything I didn't get to touch on talking, you go check it out there. Going Deep MMA for main event breakdowns. You already know. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.
Very good.